Welcome back, everybody, to the Card Chatter with Refractor Jones and Bobbles and Ball Cards. Hope you're all doing well out there. Hope your week's been going smooth. This will be episode 29. So, wanted to double check on that. The numbers will keep climbing up, so I wanted to be sure I was right. As always, like to throw a shout out to Mason and Mason's Mission. If you are new to the podcast, we do it every episode. Started out with giving a big shout out to Mason and what he tries doing with his mission of helping other pediatric cancer patients who are fighting and battling it each and every day in their families. So if you're able, it's never an obligation, but if you're able to help Mason out, um, it goes to helping others, and it's a beautiful thing that a young man is doing. So we always like to toss that out there to try to help show our support. If you're financially not able to help or donate, you can hit that subscribe button, and we will be sure to donate on your behalf. So we do have Refractor Jones back with us this evening. Um, Probably not going to be as long of an episode as we normally have. Refractor's been dealing with some things with a family. I don't want to get into personal matters, but everything is good on Refractor's end. I had said out there, hope everything was good with you. He is good. He was just helping another family out during a difficult time. So glad to have you back, Refractor. I would say, how are you doing? But I kind of know. Um,
Yeah.
but
No, I'm good.
anyway,
I'm good. I'm glad to be back. It's a good, you know, removal of kind of a change of pace, and it's a good thing. I'm very happy. I needed the distraction, I just want to say something real quick. What we do here on this channel is minimal to what real life happens to families and things that happen to children, and we as adults really need to do more. We need to do more for kids with pediatric cancer. It's very serious. It's not something that should be overlooked and think that a child can get over anything and anything. It's important. We really need to make better efforts in this world. But that's all I want to say about that. So
yeah, definitely. There's we've reiterated this before. We look at sports cards. Obviously, there's different people in it for different things, um, and I dabble in a little bit of different areas with it. Because I do sell cards and stuff, and I do. I guess you would say I run a business regarding, or in the sports card hobby with, the group subs and all of that stuff.
mm,
Um, but at the end of the day, this is a hobby to us, and it's good to have that place to use when you need a moment or a little bit of relief, a little bit of happiness, a little bit of joy, whatever you want to call it.
yeah,
Um, I
distraction.
know
You know,
I know you said that, over the past several days, you haven't really gotten to keep up much within the hobby or content or anything else.
yeah, I haven't.
Um, I had, and for all the listeners out there, he didn't, we talked about it beforehand, but he didn't even know like who, this wasn't planned having like guests on or anything. This was, he was unable to make it, and I didn't want to just do solo podcasts because one of the great things about doing this with Refractor is I really enjoy conversing with people. Many times, I have my own channel and I say a lot of my own opinions on there or say things, um, you know, trying to explain things to folks or what have you. And sometimes it's misunderstood or mistaken, or, sometimes things can be portrayed differently than intended. So it's always nice to have uh, other people to converse with, because then it's more than just one voice, one opinion. It's things coming from multiple thoughts, multiple areas, multiple experiences, all of that. So I really do enjoy this. And so for the last two episodes, um, I had James Gillum on. He came down actually Thursday to go to the Chantilly show with us, and so he was here to record Thursday night with me. That way we could have it up early Friday morning, which was awesome. And me and him kind of talked about the importance of friendships and having friendships in the hobby and everything. Which he's like James is family now. I've known him for several years now. He comes down every time the Chantilly show's going on, stays here at our house. He was at the house at the National. It's just a great thing having someone like him as part of my hobby life, and I considering family now. Um, and then Sunday night, it was, we always record late on Sunday nights and discuss football and all that. And I knew it was going to be hard finding somebody to fill in on Sunday night. But I knew Carlos, who listens to the podcast and everything. Shout out to him. I knew he stays up late and he likes to talk and converse as well about the hobby. I also knew coming out of the Chantilly show and him having the expo coming up, here soon, that he would be a good one that I'd have a little bit of a topic to talk about too. So we talked about football like usual for the water cooler stuff, and then went in discussing like the show environment, what I experienced at Chantilly, and then his expectations moving forward into the Toronto Expo coming up. So we do have the Dallas show that's going to be coming in between there, so that'll be interesting. Um, so just to catch you up, the listeners, if you didn't listen to the past two, and also Refractor, just to fill him in a little bit on who the guests were and what the topics were.
Oh,
So,
nice. Well, first, let me say thank you to James and thank you to Carlito. I appreciate it, and I'm sure they did fantastic. And when we're done recording this, I will make sure I go listen to both of them.
yeah. So, maybe it's something we can do too. I mean, we've talked about people joining the chat, or maybe we could, if I can figure out how to work this rig called StreamYard, maybe we could have people pop in with us and have even more voices on here for folks to listen to.
Sure.
But
Yeah.
I never want to do this solo because I don't want it to just be like trying to do an extension of, the Bobbles channel. I want this to be more than just my voice. So even though I talk a lot, you know, I like this being a conversation. So,
It's easier to talk to somebody than yourself, right? I mean,
oh man,
some people are able to speak to themselves pretty easy, but for normal people, it's kind of difficult.
I am one of those. It's like, I mean, you've been around for a while. You know that before my grandmother got sick, I would go live every night. And it wasn't just a matter of like, it was easier than trying to edit a video or upload a video or whatever. It was, I enjoyed having the chat there. It wasn't me just talking. There was a chat there that I could interact with, and 30, 40 people, how many ever would pop on each night and watch. It wasn't just me having a conversation, and then people would start talking to each other as well, which made
Hmm.
it even that much more enjoyable. So um, that's why I did that, and I really really did enjoy that. But yeah, it's definitely having easier having a conversation than try to portray a topic, so to speak.
Yeah.
I'll sit here and record videos sometimes, and that he trust me, this would probably blow many people's minds, but I record more videos than I upload, because
Yeah,
I
I'm
will
sure.
sit here and record videos and delete them, and then some days I'll record 3 or 4 takes of a video and decide, you know what, screw it, I'm not doing it. And I never upload a video that day. So I record way more videos than I ever upload. So just a little sneak peek behind the scenes statistics there. But yeah.
Well, I truly respect that because I tried the whole YouTube thing just to play around and throw a video up here and there, and and throw up the refractors that people wanted to see, like a maybe find this set. But it is difficult. It really is when you're just sitting there talking to yourself. You're like, okay, am I doing this right? Do I sound right? Do I sound like an idiot? And how are people going to receive it? It's like you don't get that instant feedback, so it's kind of tough to be able to do that. And it takes talent. So I mean, you've done
Well,
pretty well with it, even if you got to
the
do 10
other
takes.
the other side to it is more I've realized that sometimes the way I say something could be misinterpreted or taken a different way than I meant. And I also find that because of that, I'll sit and almost like ramble more than I need to
Hmm.
because I'm trying to make sure I'm explaining properly to folks. And
So you have a self edit button then, huh?
well, I try not to edit the videos because I'm not too great at that. Um, So most everything, if I've recorded something and uploaded it, 99.9% of the time, unless it's the podcast where like we've lost connection or what have you, 99.9% of the time, anything I've uploaded, if it's a recorded video, there's no editing done to it.
Yeah,
It's because I'm not good with all that. Um,
yeah.
but what I find though is even like if people reply to something because they took it the wrong way and then I try to like they'll comment or something like that and then I'll reply to them, sometimes it can be taken out of like even the text tone could be taken wrong. And so that's why, a lot of times I'll record something or I'll talk discuss a topic or something like that, and, yeah, it's a waste of time sitting here, maybe recording something 2, 3, 4, 5 plus times some days, and never uploading it. That is a waste of time. But at the same time, I also look at it as I'm speaking my thoughts and I'm getting it out of my head or off my chest or what have you. And so it's not necessarily a waste because it's always good to talk things out too, even if it's amongst yourself. So I definitely do enjoy conversations with other people, like going to a show. I actually I told several folks over the weekend, even though I didn't buy anything from the show, or I
Oh, you
bought
didn't. You didn't buy anything, huh?
I bought 3 Griffies and I bought a small stack of Star Wars Galaxy that just made too much sense to say no to. But that the Star Wars Galaxy stuff is honestly completely 100%. I bought it just to sell it.
Uh-huh.
Um, the only other thing I would do with it is potentially make another set, but I already have a full set of that. I bought a whole refractor set of it because the artwork is real cool on it. I
Yeah.
seen a stack of them there, and I went to look through them, but I didn't know what the pricing was because the guy didn't have anything priced, and they were just in a random box. And so I asked what the prices were of the cards, and he's like, "Well, everything's different." And so he's like, "What are you looking at?" And I showed him it was the Star Wars Galaxy stuff, and he's like, "Oh, anything in that box of that, the whole stack, you can have it for $20." Well, it just made too much sense because some of those refractors are 5, 10, $15 a piece.
That's
So I
great.
was like, okay, this makes too much sense to say no to. So, um, and the
Nice.
Griffies I bought, I got 2 Bowman's Best Atomics and then a Cooperstown Bound from Pacific.
Nice.
This, go ahead.
I said that's nice. Very nice.
Yeah,
Were the
it was
were the
just a weird.
atomics from Bowman's Best, right?
Yeah, the one is the international, and the
Okay.
other is just the
Then the
preview, the
the
BBP
'96.
2. Yeah.
Okay. The preview. So then you got the preview and the regular
It's the preview and the international.
and the international. Yeah.
Yeah.
Internationals are tough, man.
So, it was a weird show for me
Yeah.
because I didn't sell anything at the show, but I also didn't really try. Uh, I only took a few things. I took one little box of cards. Actually, I took 2 cards with me on Friday, and then I noticed there was some dealers there with hockey, so I did take hockey with me on Saturday, but I took it because there's a specific dealer there that I've dealt with that's bought from me before, so I wanted to see if he was interested in anything I had that I was looking to move. Um, but I didn't sell anything. I didn't try to. The pricing was just too off to try to even negotiate. You know, if dealers are trying to sell high, they're gonna buy low, and I wasn't desperate to sell anything. I just brought it to see if the guy wanted it. It wanted anything I had. Um, and then on the flip side of that, like that show, I'm normally picking up a lot of cards or bigger cards, but I'm actually proud of myself because I stuck to my plan. Well, not necessarily my plan, but I stuck to the players I'm like, I was looking for Griffey, I was looking for Barry Bonds, Emmett Smith, those type guys. And I really couldn't find hardly any Bonds at all.
So
Um,
no value boxes there.
so there were value boxes, but I'm going to be honest. Issue number 1 is it was the popular thing, and they were very crowded and hard to get to. Issue number 2 is the dealers got tricky, and many of them were putting, like, $5 and $10 price tags on the boxes, or they were putting price as marked, and that stuff like, my son even noticed that he came a couple days, and he was looking at some TCG stuff, and he was like, there's dollar cards priced at $10 in in these value bins. So, even the value boxes and that when I started noticing that, that made me even more leery because, like, you knew that things were it was gonna be difficult to buy, and it makes sense, so to speak. Um,
Hmm.
that was the difficulty. But overall, I had fun. I mean, and that was the most important thing. Here's one that'll shock you though. And he didn't come on and do any recap or anything with me. He was watching his Yankees a couple nights and was upset with them, but then he was kind of upset at the show too. But James Gillum did not buy a single sports card or baseball card.
Really?
He bought Spider-Man metal, the Marvel metal Spider-Man stuff. He did
Uh-huh.
not buy a single baseball card.
Wow, that's shocking.
Yeah, he was hunting the Spider-Man Marvel metal stuff. He wound up completing the set, and he picked up a couple little parallels or whatever of some of them. But that's what he was having fun with, and it was just tough. I mean, some dealers had stuff priced okay. Some did okay at the show, but and I've discussed this in several videos now, but it's a weird time right now.
Yeah, it is.
I I don't know what it's gonna take to correct this. Like, is the two sides just gonna have to be in a standoff? Is it gonna be like a picket line? Dealers are holding strong on their prices, but buyers are saying no. I mean, people have to understand too, because I don't think this has clicked yet. So many folks, like, talk so negative like about eBay and everything and how much they hate buying or selling on eBay or whatever, you're almost being forced to online marketplaces if you can't buy at a show at a reasonable price. I
Sure.
mean, it, more and more people are just going to go to eBay or I guess MySlab sells raw cards or ComC or those online marketplaces. They're I mean, I told a couple dealers, I was like, look, I'm not gonna pay more than what I can just go online right now and buy the card for. And I'm not talking like a couple bucks. If a guy's a couple dollars over, who cares? I'm not worrying about that.
Yeah.
Um, I To give you an example, and you're familiar with the atomics, right? You may not be quite familiar. If you were going to buy those Griffies right now, those Griffey atomics, what price range would you be looking for them at? You have your mic muted, by the way.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, both with 96 and 97, the refractor lines in those are just horrible. So that would definitely play a big factor, in that whole equation. But I mean, the last atomic that I've seen, God, it's been a while though. It was like 400 or 500 bucks. What somebody wanted for it, and what they are now, I have no idea. I would imagine they're around 200 bucks.
Okay, no. The international actually this the last sale I found on eBay was $80 and
What?
the preview was $57.
What?
Yeah.
That's cheap. That's cheap, man. That's real cheap.
Well, the dealer had them priced at 150 for the international and 100 for the preview.
Right.
And so he was asking 250 for the two that combined recently sold for like 137 bucks. So I wound up paying 150 for them
Oh, okay. Well, you
because I
didn't get it.
figured with shipping and all that. But that's an example of like how far off I had to get, I had to get him to come down 100 bucks. It wasn't like I was asking him to come off $5. If it was a $5 thing, I would have just bought it. There was another guy that had a bunch of cards I liked, but we were too far off. And I even offered to pay more than recent eBay sales. So that's kind of what I was talking about. Like dealers aren't understanding. So many hate eBay and everything, or they don't want to compete with eBay, but they're almost
Yeah.
forcing the buyers to go to online marketplaces. So
Yeah. It's
um,
because the numbers are dropping drastically on everything. Everything across the board is down.
yeah, and I mean, some of the stuff that I probably bought in June, or maybe even some of the stuff from the National, it might be down, but the fact is, like, for me to sit and just browse eBay for, God knows how long finding all of this stuff, uh, it would take a long time. And this is all stuff from my collection, so I'm not too overly worried about all that. If you find cool stuff and you want it, you know, especially on '90s stuff, I think when the opportunity presents itself, you should take advantage because that stuff's not, it's not like this ultra modern Prism or Tops, Chrome stuff or any of that where you're going to see it everywhere. This stuff,
Sure.
sometimes you got to dig for it.
Yeah. And like I said, I know for a fact, let's just say I remember seeing it at the National because I tried to buy the 96 and the 97, and both of them, they were in the $400 and $500 range. So I
Let me
mean,
make sure
they're not cheap.
I have them sitting here. Let's see here.
And the international was what, like one in 96.
Oh, I don't know the pack odds on them.
Yeah, I think they were like one in 96 or one in 72, for that. And then the international refractor was like one in 116 or something. I mean, don't hold me to that. I would have to
So this is the
go back and
97,
right. Yep.
and then
And the lines are all clean on that. You don't have any double lines on it, right? And that's the preview, right? That one there.
yeah.
Yeah.
Do you want to know the honest truth? I bought these just because I wanted them. I even told the dealers there, I was like, I'm not worrying about like them being in pristine condition or whatever. That's not what I was buying them for.
Yeah.
Um, they're just for my collection. So,
Sure.
I could sit and nitpick over the um the condition or whatever, but when I'm buying this stuff, I expect it to have some sort of flaw, you know.
Yeah.
I just expect it to, but it's stuff I
Sure.
enjoy, so that's why I don't mind it as much.
Yeah. I'm just speaking if you're going to end up grading it and you're paying the premium for it, that's because I see plenty of them. But the problem that I always see on them is that extra shadow that gets thrown on the card. And where you get that extra little bit of a refractor line, and it's just a faint line that'll run from top to bottom or left to right, or vice versa. And it's just something that it's hard to avoid because there's so many of them that have it.
Well, speaking of grading, I know you haven't got to see it yet. We kind of talked about it. I'm trying not to break the internet, and you know, many folks that know me, we did the little bit with acting like Nat and Peter or whatever. But um, I
You sent
am
stuff to
grading them.
PSA. You sent stuff to PSA.
Oh no, 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 no! I have not sent them to PSA. No.
Okay. All right.
Um,
Break it to me then.
I have an order sitting here. I did a preview for it. I'm gonna ship it out tomorrow. 70 cards I'm gonna send to CSG. Uh,
Uh-oh.
it makes too much sense.
Yeah.
And this is all PC stuff. There's some duplicates in here, so I might sell, the duplicates or whatever, which will likely help cover what I'm spending on these grading fees. Um, but this is PC stuff, and I calculated it up, even with being able to, submit bulks or being a bulk submitter to SGC. I'm going to be saving several $100s, and let's face it, CSG has that crystal clear holder.
Yeah,
It's
you
just
sure do.
it's stuff that's going to be put into my collection. If I ever wanted to get crazy and play around with a registry, they have a registry. Maybe I could challenge somebody to a Griffey registry. I don't know. I doubt I'd ever get into all of that, but I was just thinking about it, and I've been these. I keep piling Griffeys and Bonds and all those guys more and more and more, and I'm like, I want to get them graded, but even with the price reduction, I mean, you're still looking at it still costs a good bit for a holder, and
Yeah.
um, with the
And they
20% off deal right now with CSG, it makes it it makes it a discount of several $100s. And I was
that's a
like,
big
you know
deal.
what? I might as well take advantage of it. So um, we're gonna send
Yeah.
them in, see, and plus it gives me an opportunity. Let me see. I talk about other companies and stuff, and now it won't be an opinionated. I can give a true, honest opinion on the service and the turnaround and all that stuff. I've only
Yeah.
ever, I mean, let's be real. Let's be real. Since before the pandemic, I've only sent to SGC. I've sent two cards to CSG that SGC wouldn't do for me, but those were vintage cards, the 49 Bowman Jackie and the 52 Bowman Mickey Mantle. There was
Hmm.
no grading involved in them. They were just authentic altered cards, and I had to pay for a premium turnaround time because of the value of the cards. So I don't have like a true gauge of my own right on what their bulk subs are doing or any of that. So I can experience it with my, on my own, and you know, see how it goes. I'm still going to use SGC. I'm not. I made sure to explain that in the video. I'm not going away from SGC. You know, they haven't poo-pooed on me. They haven't ticked me off. I hope they're not mad at me. I've always
We,
been open.
you're cheating.
But here's the reality, though. I've always said that I'm not slab specific when
Right.
it comes to what's in my collection. And anybody out there, you know, if I can save a little bit of money on just PC stuff, especially
Yeah.
stuff like this, I mean, why wouldn't you, right? I
Sure.
mean,
Yeah. You can play with more. I mean, it
right.
makes perfect sense.
You know, I mean, it's not, again, it's not like I'm, saving $50 here. It's several $100s, so that makes a huge difference. But anyway, I actually have some cards I need to send down to SGC too, so I'll likely be getting those ready. But yeah, I knew people were gonna like some folks were gonna probably freak out when they seen it or whatever. But um,
Well, good
it's
for
the
you. I
beauty of
hope it
the
goes well.
internet.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but anyway, it's been kind of quiet. It's actually been kind of nice. Are we in a hobby quiet time, or have I just been like at the show and been? I guess maybe we've both been immune to any noise if it's been out there, but I haven't been hearing
Yeah.
anything.
Well, you see, I haven't popped on, so I've just been too wrapped up in helping this family out. So I don't know. I mean, it's kind of been nice. It's been a little bit of a break because I do absorb and take in a lot of content, but it's been kind of nice in that aspect that I don't have to sit there and listen to a lot of garbage and stuff. Because
Yeah, I
unfortunately,
mean,
sometimes you got to listen to good to the bad. So I mean, it is what it is.
right, right. Yeah, I mean, I haven't heard of anything negative. I don't know. Maybe we're in a good spot right now. Maybe that's a good thing. What is that?
Yeah,
What is that old thing? No news is good news.
it sure is.
So
It
maybe that's
sure
where
is.
we're at right now.
Yeah.
Um, I know I'm having fun. I might have, we've talked a little bit about the nonsense and the dramas and this, that, and the other. I'm having a lot of fun. Even though the show I didn't buy stuff, I I learned, you know, coming out of the past couple years
Mhm.
and how it was like so go 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 and like everything was just kind of nuts, right? It was like
Sure.
constant, constant activity and everything else, and it was kind of nice. Like, yeah, I don't know. I told some folks that just going to that show now, going to Chantilly, and I know you experienced this. Um, Going to that show and knowing that those dealers like know who I am, and like when I go there, they say, "Hey, how you doing?" We talk, how have things been on both sides, that's kind of cool that, you know, they, like I said, we've been going to the show for several years and have only missed it once, and that's because we were sick. Um, and to know now that these guys, each time the show comes around, I don't even have to go up to them. Many of them come up to me. That's pretty cool. It's kind of like that dealer, even though I'm not a dealer, but it's that relation, making the relationships and the connections with the dealers.
Yeah. It's
It's a
called the
pretty
circuit.
cool feeling.
Right. It's called the circuit.
Yeah,
That's what it
yeah.
is.
Um, But that was another thing, like, I really noticed this time, and even, like, when I was out doing filming and stuff, you can see in some of the videos, like, some of the guys will wave or nod their head or whatever because they knew I was recording and, they see me walk by and they would,
Mhm.
wave or nod or whatever, and, I thought that was kinda cool too because they were, like, being a part of the video and stuff, so,
That's good.
um,
You
and
have to
sometimes
apply.
they
You have to apply for that media pass with the national.
Yeah, somebody said that, Big Scott came up with his dad, got to meet his dad. He
Oh,
was there
that's nice.
Friday and Saturday. He said something about they have the pass thing too at the National.
Yep,
I'll
they
have to
sure do.
look into it. I have I have been approved for the pass at Chantilly since the March show, and the way I got approved is I called up there asking if it was okay to go around recording and all that, because I didn't know, like, if their rules or whatever, and,
Mhm.
they checked out my YouTube channel, checked out the social media and everything, called me back, said, "Hey, yeah, everything looks good." Told me that it was too close to that show to be able to get me a pass or anything, but to hit them up the next show. Well, dingy me had miscommunication. I thought they told me to call, and I guess they had told me to email, so I didn't email. So I didn't get a pass for the June show. This time I made sure to cover all my bases and I emailed and called, but I still had to explain to them when I got there because no one ever paid. It was a mess. But I have the woman's number now for that show.
That's good.
So hopefully there will be no more further confusions. But
Good.
it was kind of fun. It was cool. Um, I got
It
yelled at.
basically you got yelled at.
I got yelled at one time. Um,
Who did you poo poo on?
I wasn't poo-pooing on anybody. So I was told Friday that I could go back where all the autograph signers were
Okay.
and, record back there, take pictures, what have you. Um, Basically, I could, go back and roam around and do footage and all that. So,
Yeah. Do
I
snapshots,
was,
right?
and, the only one I was told that I had to stay away from, so to speak, was Ovechkin. I don't know what the deal was with
Why?
him.
Really?
I I don't know. The woman who was the head of social media was actually back there when he was walking from the photo area to where he was gonna sign, and, she seen me back there, and we were talking about it, and she's like, "Well, you can record him, like, when he's walking by or whatever, but he's real funny about people recording him when he signs his autographs and, any of this other stuff." And I was like, "Okay, no problem. I'll just, stay away." She's like, "No, you can take pictures or record when he's walking by. I'll tell these guys I told you it was okay." I'm like, "Alright." Well, when he's walking by, he had, like, people literally surrounding him. Like, on all sides, he had a crew just walking behind the curtains to get where his table was to sign autographs. The weirdest
Mm.
thing ever. You could tell that he really didn't wanna be there. Um,
Doesn't have to be, you know. And that's
it
the
it was
thing. They don't have.
weird. I don't know. I really don't know what was going on with him, but, I got yelled at because Ralph Sampson was done signing for everybody, and
Oh,
he was sitting there at his table, and I just happened to notice that everybody was done, nobody was signing an autograph, whatever, and he was just sitting there, and so I shared a story with him that I thought he would find funny because my son had his, appendix removed by the same doctor that was a doctor for Ralph Sampson. And this doctor was amazed at the length of my son's appendix and actually took photos and everything of it because he said in the 50 years he had been a doctor doing that procedure, he had never seen an appendix anything close to that except for Ralph Sampson's. So I was sharing this story with Ralph, and he was actually laughing and talking back and everything. And I guess I think they call them handlers or something. The people that sit there with
Yeah.
the athletes and make sure the tickets are right and
Right.
whatever.
Yeah.
Um, it was an older gentleman, and he like started yelling at me because I was talking to Ralph Sampson, even
Hmm.
though nobody was around him. He was just sitting there and actually talking back to me. So I learned my lesson. Don't talk to them. Which is funny because even Willie Roaf like stopped and did a little recording for me and everything.
Oh, cool.
Um, Michael Vick, uh, I tried to get him to do a recording, but he was kind of an ass, so to speak.
Yeah.
Or maybe he just I don't know. Maybe I put him on the spot. Um, but I asked if he wanted to do a little recording, and he was like, "Well, what do you want?" And I was like, "I don't know. Tell me your Super Bowl prediction." And I thought maybe because he played on the Eagles, he would play along with it and say something like "Fly Eagles Fly," in
Hmm.
support of his old team. And instead, he was like, "Man, I ain't giving no Super Bowl prediction," and walked away. So anyway, so I'll tell you a guy that did surprise me. Um, Joe Theismann. He is very, very, very personable with the
Yeah,
fans.
he definitely is. He's a good guy.
Yeah, yeah, he was talking to everybody, talking about what items they had for him to sign. He would stand up and take pictures with everybody. He was like really, really, really nice to everybody that was coming up there. So that was really cool to see. Um, but yeah, it was a fun weekend, even though, I wasn't like buying or anything else, just hanging out. And a card show is always a good environment, whether prices are up, down, sideways, whatever, backwards, forwards. It's a card show and it's a great place to be. So,
Good. Good. Good.
do you have anything coming up? Anything on the docket? Any
Mm,
plans?
No, nothing, man. Like I said, I've been, buried in this other thing for the last couple of days, so now I'm just getting my feet wet all over again, and we'll see what tomorrow brings.
Yeah. Oh, uh, I ran into Mike, baseball collector, on Sunday over here.
Oh, okay.
And then I seen him and Ty, I guess somewhere around here or West Virginia, it looks like. Um, they're filming a Chasing Cardboard episode, so really curious to see what someone sold from around these parts. I don't.
Yeah.
They said Berkeley Springs, which is I think a couple hours from me, um, and it was likely out of my profit, my expenditure range. But anyway, be
Hmm.
cool to see what they found and picked up over here and stuff. So, but anyway, it's getting a little late. I know you've had a long weekend.
Yeah. Yeah.
Middle of the week, good, good conversations. Just you know, nothing on the topic list right now. Again, everything's been quiet. Kind of late start to this, and again, I know you've had a rough weekend, long weekend, and everything. So, I think we will call this episode good, and hope everybody enjoys it. Hope you all have a wonderful Wednesday. And as always, we both really, really, really like to thank you. So.
Thank you. Appreciate it, everyone.